What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 229 of the Cheesy Controller Podcast. I'm your host, Anton LaPlatte. Joining me, as always, we have the most generous squid in the sea, Jalen Roberts.
I've been stuck on a train for 3 weeks with 2 bad dishes.
And we got the Ray Trace Durag, Madrid Devon.
I just finished listening to Scaring the Hose.
We got a jam-packed episode for you guys this week. We're going to be talking about Jedi Survivor. We're going to be talking about the Viz and the K-Manga apps. We're going to talk about Final Fantasy XIV Patch 6.4. And we're going to talk about Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. And that was a special treat for the video viewers if you're listening to the audio version.
Yeah, I'll put it like this. My Hero was able to have that time to have its grace period. Because, it does have good world building. Compared to shit now, it doesn't get a chance to. It's at least set up the Hero Society in Japan.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. What was that manga that got canceled? Agumon? That one about those 2 kids in the fucking Spirit Yakuza or some shit like that?
Oh, Ayashimon?
Yeah.
Ayashimon?
That managed to get just as good at world building as My Hero did in like a third of the time. And then it got fucking canceled right as things were getting fucking interesting.
See, I'm looking at all these
they went for world building first instead of action.
Exactly, and that's my point.
You can't do one or the other. Like, you have to pick the one that sells. And really, lately, I haven't seen the one that sells. What's the newer series that's still going?
Chainsaw Man, Kaiju number 8.
Kaiju number 8's in Jump Plus, so it doesn't count. Chainsaw Man is also now in Jump Plus, so it doesn't count.
Yeah,
we're talking about Jump
Plus.
Like Jump the magazine. And Chainsaw Man in and of itself, that's still... It came when we were still reading shit on... like the pirate sites, you know what I'm saying? It was out before the Jump
back then, like
the Jump app, before the Viz app. Like, Chainsaw Man is old enough to have had enough time to be able to.
Wait, did Chosen X get canceled?
No, Chosen X just comes out slow as shit.
That's on Jump Plus.
Right, that's also.
Those shits have, it's on the online only magazine, so they don't have a weekly deadline for a print, so they each have a monthly schedule or a yearly schedule type shit.
So looking at
Blue Exorcist on Jump Plus at this point?
What's up?
Blue Exorcist. Didn't that get moved to Jump Plus at this point?
There's also another Jump. There's like 2 other Jump magazines.
I know there's like Jump Max or some shit like that, and that's where you could read like Succubus and Hitman. That's where their literal like 18 plus shit is at.
I'm just looking. I mean, outside of really like Sakamoto Days, The Elusive Samurai,
Akane Bashi, that was another one that's younger and still kind of in the magazine, which I've heard is really good. So it's doing something right. It'll probably stick around. But yeah, Sakamoto Days is one of the newer series. And what does Sakamoto Days do? It leans into action. And now and now they're slowly setting back up the wheels. Like, all right, we're gonna we're gonna beat you over the head with action and comedy, both of which it nails. And now we just weave in story and world building and shit like that. So it found the best formula to kind of do it. And some of that's based on having the right type of editor too.
Right.
Yeah.
They'll point you in the right direction. And sometimes they'll lead you astray. So it is what it is. But I did just finish reading Haikyuu. That is 402 chapters of peak fiction right there. Yeah.
So have you never read Haikyuu before? Because Haikyuu seems like one of those ones, either you're like out or you're all the way in.
I never, like, I watched the anime eventually. So 4-5 years ago, something like that. I started watching the anime, and I was like, damn, this shit's good as fuck. And then I just never got into the manga, and I was like, I need something long and good to read while I'm at work, and fucking blew through that shit. Amazing. The art, the storytelling, the emotions. Sports anime really nail it with the emotional high, so I fuck with that. And it was definitely worth the voyage.
Yeah, the reason why sports animes get the emotional high points so well is because they don't have the flashiness of the battles. Really, all the focus of the battles are more on the emotional aspect of getting there versus like, because it's not like you're watching kids play volleyball. You're not watching someone pull out a fucking Chidori and get stabbed.
Right. It's a character drama.
Right.
It's like My Hero does the same thing that Haikyuu does a lot better. But
yeah.
But the volleyball panels though are fucking crazy. Because sometimes like the way it's done, it's a little harder to keep up with sometimes because it might be more stylized. It might be more like, oh, the ball, like some of the plays are implied. It's like, okay, this went to the setter and then it went up for a spike, and this is right where the ball hit. So the one thing I wish I was like reading it physically or like on an iPad, so I had more space to like really look at it in landscape view. But outside of that, that's just awesome. I think everybody should check it out. And they just announced the last movie is either coming out soon or they're announcing it. I didn't really look too much into it because I still have like a season or a movie or two some shit to watch. It gets confusing how they try to do it because really Haikyuu's like these niggas play maybe 12 actual volleyball games that aren't practice games. So yeah, it's still 400 chapters even with that. Like there's a game that's like 5 volumes, goddamn.
It's just
so
the people on the sidelines narrating.
Oh my god, the people on the sidelines narrating. They will set up a character in another game that they lost in just to have them on the sidelines at a later date to narrate. That way you have an emotional connection with them. It's like, oh, I understand this person. Let me get their lens on the situation. And then there's always the character that doesn't really know the sport yet. So it's like, that gives me the green light to mansplain this to you. Yes, please do mansplain. I think I'm starting to understand.
All right. So the reason we ended up on talking manga is because this week we got the Viz and the K-Manga apps. So we have 2 new official ways to read manga.
Yes.
Different publishers. That's the most important thing. They're different publishers, so so you're getting other manga. That's the most important thing.
Right.
Okay, so here's what happened with this. K-Manga or Kodansha, so they have Attack on Titan, Fairy Tail, Blue Lock, Fire Force, some of the hottest shit that's out right now. Tokyo Revengers. Komi Can't Communicate is on the Viz. The Viz manga.
Fuck.
Yeah. So I've been up here like, Ranger Reject, shit like that. I've been on here like, wait, I was like, okay, I'm about to get this shit. That's just coming out soon. I'm be reading Blue Lock. I'm be reading fucking Fire Force. It's about to go down. And then Viz, like literally the day before K-Manga drops, Viz comes out and it was like, hey, we're dropping a new app. We're relaunching our old Viz app because before you could only like buy the volumes and kind of read them like that, and maybe like sample like the first chapter free type shit. But they're like, yeah, we're just gonna do the Shonen Jump app approach, and just here's a bunch of free manga. Here's a bunch, $1.99. You can get access to all these series: Inuyasha, Junji Ito, Nana, fucking Magi. All types of shit is on there. All types of shit is on the Viz app for $1.99. The day before the K-Manga app drops, no fucking just like ghost drop that shit. Just like, yo, here you go.
All right,
enjoy.
So, question about that, because I know Viz is over Shonen Jump.
They do not have a bundle.
Okay, so it's just two separate. So it's
That's my one issue. Is like, damn, y'all could have just gave us a bundle. You know, I have a show to Jump account.
Plus again. Here we go.
oh, they got the Persona 5 manga.
Yeah.
I'm just on the Viz manga site because now, like, when you click over,
Yashihime.
There's a lot of shoujo. There's a lot of slice of life.
Oh yeah,
Right, it's like
a lot of the shoujo beat.
Getting variety, get a balanced diet. Stop reading nothing but battle shonen.
I'm here for it. Like, I'm definitely just seeing the stuff that's on this side. There's a lot of stuff that looks really interesting. That I'm
Case closed. It has case close on it. 900 plus fucking chapters of case close. Crazy. So this shit is like for $1.99. It's $1 cheaper than the Jump app.
Right.
It's definitely. I would say it's definitely worth it. But the big. Oh, what's up?
It's also a better system than the fucking Kodama app. That.
Yes. That brings me to my next point. Kodansha fucking fumbled the bag with this K-Manga app. Like, I pre-ordered the app and then it went live at 12, right? So I was like, yeah, let me check this out. And I was looking at it. I was like, damn, this shit looks kind of janky. Let me read the terms and services. I'm reading the terms and services. It's like, yeah. It started talking about points, like a point system, and having that get allocated towards chapters. So I'm like, yo, what the fuck? So I closed that out, immediately go to Twitter to do my investigation. And I'm like, K-Manga. And people are going crazy talking about the point system. So basically, you would have to buy points. So you have to go buy V-Bucks to go unlock and read chapters. And a chapter might be 99 points. And they might have a newest chapter, like Blue Lock, for example. The latest chapter was split into 2 parts, each for 99 points, which is roughly $1.
So they instead of charging you a monthly flat subscription to just read as much as you want, well, the Jump and Viz apps, I'm assuming, still limit you to 100 chapters a day?
Yeah.
Yeah, about 100 chapters a day.
So, I mean,
100 chapters a day on the K-Manga app would be about $100.
Right.
I mean, granted, you can buy more points in bulk for cheaper.
Right. You can do the great value bundle.
Any gacha game, you get a discount if you buy in bulk.
Right. The microtransaction game.
Somebody explained it like it has Rent a Girlfriend, right? They're saying if you bought the entirety of Rent a Girlfriend physically, you'd pay about $125. But if you wanted to read the entirety of it on the K-Manga app, you're paying like $195.
You could physically own the K-Manga for less than it would take to read it online.
What the fuck? Like,
ridiculous. Like, that's thinking
terrible.
About, like,
even if there was no Viz app, that would still be terrible because, like, so many people were gonna like make a flux to it so they can read shit outside of like the typical what's just on the Shonen Jump app, you know, in a legal, fair, or whatever sense. Right. But with this method, people are gonna be like, "Yo, fuck no!" Like everybody's saying, like this shit, like nobody's using it. Not to mention the censorship that's on the app. Like I get why they have to do it. But y'all should have like another means set up where you can just read it online instead,
right?
And just read it uncensored there. Just like, okay, I'll go to the website view, like the same way Jump and Viz does. Like, all right, because Nana on the Viz app, after a certain point, they're like, yeah, just the rest of it's web only, and I'm like, yeah, that's because they be fucking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's don't get the K-Manga app, y'all. It's not too late for them to be like, psych. Right. Here's a $5 subscription because clearly they're broke. Like, goddamn, y'all up here price gouging for manga.
I'm just sitting there looking through the Viz.
That's just the way it's saying we don't got it. You know, I get it. Y'all don't got it. That's not our
That's
fault.
why you don't got it. That's the thing
Yeah,
about
this
it.
is why you don't got it.
Got it.
Right? Because that's the thing. Even with buying Kodansha manga, I don't feel like Shonen Jump stuff, like My Hero, Jujutsu Kaisen, when I pre-order those physically, like typically I'm not spending the full $10 it would take to get, like, they'll go on sale like in the pre-order period and Amazon will send me back those couple dollars or whatever. But with the with Fire Force in particular, because that's the one I can really like speak to, like as somebody who would, I was waiting for this app to read Fire Force.
People were waiting for this app.
Yeah, I had it preloaded too. Like where
I was
it was
ready
like, and then it comes out and it's like, so with the Fire Force physical manga, you're paying more than $10 for one volume, and it's like I can't really justify like.
Is it thicker at all? Is it
It's like even in comparison, like that Bleach special edition of Volume 1, like I got that for cheaper than it would be for me to get the next volume of Fire Force I don't have. And that's like a limited edition like thing, whereas Fire Force is just one of those series that's just out there, you know?
Yeah, that shit is crazy. I don't know who greenlit that idea. I don't know why they thought like damn near $1 a chapter is a good deal. Like what? I guess if they charge $12 for their manga, it is what, like 12 chapters in the manga volume?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really like the system. I could see a scenario where it works, but because there's competition, because there are other apps, because
it would have to be. They would have to literally be way cheaper, and have a battle pass.
Like... God damn it.
I mean, the app is free to play.
Right. But the biggest way to stop piracy is convenience. That's the thing about it. And if I got to keep spending every time I want to read a chapter, that's not convenient.
It's not convenient at all.
Like, even if the price was something reasonable, not like anyone would actually do it because it's more convenient to just get on one of them redacted sites and just sit there for 6 hours. Read it.
Right.
Yeah. On your burner device.
Right. With the VPN. Never heard of it. It's a waste because there's good stuff on there. There's the variety that, heck, at least over here, that we need people to actually start experiencing.
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing. Scrolling through the Viz app, there are a lot of these that I've heard of, but I know I've never watched or read or consumed anything from them that look interesting. And like, there's a wider variety of art styles, even compared. Like, if you scroll through, because I just have these two tabs open, one next to each other. Where I'm clicking back and forth between Shonen Jump, where you can see all the manga, and the Viz, where you can see all the manga, and like the variety of art styles in Viz, like the difference, the fact that Junji Ito stuff's on here, right next to shoujo stuff, right next to there's Dorohedoro's on here.
Oh, that was so good. That was so good.
And so...
Wait, Dorohedoro's on there?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Isn't it? Oh, fuck. Might have to read that. That shit's so gritty.
It's really good.
It's so gritty. I love it.
There's just all this variety. So, I guess, long story short, if you want to read manga, subscribe to the Viz app, subscribe to the Shonen Jump app, and read... to your heart's content. Don't financially support this Kodansha bullshit. Like,
don't give them no money, y'all. Like, let's be real. Let's let them reevaluate their model.
The only way I
right.
see it making sense, and I mean, this is a smarter financial decision, which we've made by doing the math, is buy the physical manga. Like, if you want to support a series, like Attack on Titan, I have a bunch of volumes of Attack on Titan. Like, you can support the series by watching it through official sources like Crunchyroll, and buy the physical manga, but don't support this app. Let them see that people would much rather pay for the physical than the digital, and then have them look around and just see
what if this is actually
doing.
their game plan? It's like, all right, let's force them to buy the physicals. We're not going to win the app wars. This app was a proxy.
I mean, they're not winning the physical like race either, because when you look at like the monthly sales from,
well, not in America, because
why they're not going to be getting any help.
It really depends on the series though, because some of those shits are like some of the top selling series. Like when Tokyo Revengers, when season 1 of the anime was out, that shit was on the top of the charts over there.
Yeah, like I'm sure Blue Lock was
week after week. Blue Lock now, week after week, all the volumes are just like at the top. So that's just how it goes. It's like who has the most poppin' anime adaptation at the time. You're going to be at the top of the sales chart.
Animes are definitely ads for the manga. It's even more prevalent these days. But also, it's like, if you have a good web app, that's how you get more people buying the physical.
Very true.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally,
that is true.
Yeah.
When the Shonen Jump survey comes out, like, do you think you've bought more manga since I was like, yeah.
Yeah?
I have. I can't explain it. I don't know why.
No, I know. I can exactly explain it. This is how I know what the fuck I want to buy.
Oh, Way of the House Husband's not on here.
Get it to the end of this. Might as well buy it for the shelf.
That was the Viz manga that I wanted to read that isn't on here. Way of the House Husband.
It has the volumes, just not the chapters.
Well, so you know how sometimes at the bottom of like the Shonen Jump page it'll advertise like the new volumes that are out? Way of the House Husband will be on there, and I mean, I buy that physically. Like I have the first 9 volumes. I think I have volume 10 pre-ordered. So, like, I've been reading that physically, but that is one of the Viz published mangas that isn't on here. So, cautionary.
I feel like a lot of them, like, because even with the Jump app, it was still a while before we got certain series. Like, there's still series that we don't have, like Yu Yu Hakusho. I can't wait for them to put that shit on there. And shit, when did we get Hunter x Hunter? Like, towards the end of last year, the beginning of this year?
Yeah, so I mean, there is backlog stuff that they could definitely go and get into. And I mean, just...
It'll come. Like,
right.
They definitely had a strong launching lineup. I wish Don was on there, but I know why it's not. I need them to do something about that. I guess it's just App Store restrictions on like nudity and sexual content.
Yeah, but I mean, just have us pay through that. The same thing with Chainsaw Man, as far as like, just have those chapters be web only, you know? Because when I know for me in particular, when I'm trying to like catch up with something or really read something, I'll read it on my computer. And so that's why when Chainsaw Man, I was like, wait, what chapter is missing? And everybody said what it was. I'm like, wait, but I passed that, and I don't like, it was because I was reading on my PC, and that's why I have the Shonen Jump tab open right now, because I need to read My Hero and Jujutsu for this week. And I'm
that's how I used to. Honestly, that's how I used to read my shit on my computer. And then one day I just got so accustomed to it being on the phone. I guess because it's a perfect fit on the phone, but when it's on the computer, there's all this extra shit. And he was like, "Oh, let me switch to full page."
Oh no, yeah, and it's good for like reading one chapter of this, because I full screen tap through the chapter and then like go back and look at panels, do my screenshots, do all the what's necessary to be done with those chapters.
I ain't been logged in on this shit on my computer in a minute. I'm doing it right now. I'm like, maybe I'll read that here this week.
All right. So now that we've expended our manga talk for the week, Chris isn't here, so we had to go full weeb without having to tell him to just read Jujutsu Kaisen and then Chainsaw Man. Then
he's almost there.
Yeah, he'll be there soon enough. But 20 minutes into the episode, I guess we can start talking about video games. Because there were 2 big releases this last week. And...
True.
Well, I guess one was the one the week before last. Oh, no, wait. Jedi Survivor's been out since, like, the end of April. So...
We already talked about that.
Yeah. We talked about that a few times.
I didn't have it when we talked about it. So...
that game came out a week ago. That's old news.
But yeah, so Jedi Survivor is out. I got it on the PSN. I had some PlayStation Stars rewards points. Got it, started playing it, and was.
Oh, so you didn't pay full price?
No.
That's good then. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I earned the PlayStation Stars points, but like, yeah, I
mean, yeah. No, I don't want to discredit that.
But, and that's the thing, PlayStation Stars is a lot better about it than Sony Rewards was, because Sony Rewards, you'd have to jump through hoops to get points, but PlayStation Stars, it'll just be like, hey, you have enough to do this. Like, you're 2 taps away from having the credit just in your PSN wallet, whereas Sony Rewards, you'd have to wait for them to email you a code, have to go in, redeem the code. PlayStation Stars is just like, nah, you did enough challenges, here's $20. Which is good. It's like, looking at it, I mean, PlayStation Stars overall, since I...
Do you have to do something specific to make sure it's enabled?
No, but so if you're not going in the app and looking at the challenges, it probably
PlayStation
won't.
Stars?
Yeah. Well, it's just the PlayStation app. It's up at the, like, once you open the PlayStation app, up at the top, like, next to your name, will be your PlayStation Stars level, your notifications, and your settings cog. Just, like, once you enable it, like, right now there's one, there is a biscuit collectible for, it's Biscuit Day, apparently, in the UK. So, it's a cookie, and there's just a collectible that you can get for playing any game on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5. But there are different challenges for doing different things. There's like a monthly check-in, like, and anything that doesn't have like a digital reward will just give you coins. So sometimes it'll be like, oh, play a multiplayer game. And so for this one, it's Destiny, No Man's Sky, Riders Republic, Fall Guys, Rocket League, or Apex Legends. So all I have to do is open one of those, and I'll get 50 rewards points. And most of those are free to play. So, like, even if you don't have Riders Republic or something, like, it always gives you a list of options of, like, all right, and you have PlayStation Plus Extra Madrid, so, like, a lot of times it'll just be like, oh, download, like, Deathloop and open it, and that's all you have to do. And since you have PlayStation Plus, it's on there.
Right.
So.
Okay. I see. That does sound like something I should get into, especially once I get this SSD so I can just download shit.
Well, I mean,
as needed.
A lot of times it'll be just like open up any game. So a lot of times I'll just go on, activate those challenges, and then get on 14 or Monster Hunter, whatever I was getting on anyway.
So you have to activate the challenges?
Some of them, yes. Some of them automatically. That's why I'm saying you have to like go in the app, look at what you have to do. Some of them you'll have to start. Some of them, like just you going into the app, will start them on their own, and then.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd end up with the Sony Battle Pass, but here we are.
It's not really a battle pass. It's just,
you're doing challenges for points.
Very
for
true.
Points that you can redeem for something.
But they don't expire, and there are set amount of times you can earn.
Right, so there's no it's not a seasonal battle pass, it's a console-wide battle pass.
Yep.
For the console life cycle.
And they actually might expire, because it says I'm level 4 through January 2025, so we'll see in 2 years if I'm still level 4.
That's when the new season drops.
I think that's when PlayStation Stars goes away. They're like, all right, we tested out the experiment. It's going to go die now.
Yeah, we didn't like it.
But yeah, so Jedi Survivor, I got it. I've been customizing my Cal, customizing my BD, customizing my lightsaber. I reused the orange lightsaber blade that I had in Jedi Fallen Order. So my Cal, it's just kind of like a progression, because there are a lot of changes as far as like the character. Like in how I think it's been like 2 years since Jedi Fallen Order. And my original goal was to beat Jedi Fallen Order, then get Jedi Survivor. But the thing is, Jedi Fallen Order, where I was unforgiving. I picked the game up like 3 times, was just like, is there anything I can do to just progress, just so I can get the story back going, get somewhere where I can get my training wheels back on, you know? But
were you hard stuck where you were?
Kind of. Like, so I was in a dungeon that, like, the whole planet was a dungeon. I was doing, like, one of those vaults to try and get a holocron or something. But it was just, like, if I rested...
Which planet was it? Like, what was happening? Was it...
It was a giant vault with a bunch of stormtroopers that were also trying to get in the vault, and then the like ancient dudes with the orbs in their chest trying to protect the vault.
Oh, I think I know where you were. Yeah, was there like a bunch of wind? Was it the old Jedi planet? Is that what it was?
No, it wasn't. I think I might have done that right before this.
Okay.
It's a planet after you climb on the AT-AT.
AT-AT? Is that the shit with the legs?
Yeah, that's the one with the 4 legs.
The legs, the hips, and
body.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It's been years since I've played that game, so I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, that's why.
Have you tried getting good?
What I need to do is go and try and lower the difficulty, because I've been playing Jedi Survivor on an easier difficulty, and part of it's because it's a new game, so the onboarding is a lot better. Like, I didn't want to restart Jedi Fallen Order again to get like a good onboarding process. So,
right.
Because this would have been like probably my 3rd time restarting from scratch, because I started it and then I started it on PC and played a good bit on PC and then restarted on PlayStation. So this would be time number 4 of restarting Jedi Fallen Order if I were to restart it.
How long have you played? A few hours? A few minutes?
Of Survivor or of Fallen Order?
Of Survivor.
I'd say probably the first couple hours. I made it through all the Coruscant stuff. I made it to like the planet that has.
Have you run into any weirdness? Any bugs? Have you had any issues with it?
No. Absolutely not. Like, for me, so far, it's just been a polished, like, Star Wars experience. Like, no bugs, no, like, because, I mean...
No stuttering or anything?
Maybe a little bit of
Yeah.
screen tearing. Like, maybe a little bit of just kind of, you know... But nothing experience ruining, nothing game breaking, nothing... Because I've heard people like... Oh, I got to this door, the door wouldn't open, so I had to reload the checkpoint. Like, you're hearing a lot of stuff like that about the game. And so, but that more so seems to be on the PC side, that where they were expecting a lot. But on the console side, I mean, it's been a high quality AAA single player Star Wars game. And if it weren't for the other game that I got this week, I would be... I probably would have played it last night for a long time. And I mean, it's still right now 14 Monster Hunter. All those are kind of set to the side just so I can focus on the Jedi Survivor and Tears of the Kingdom. So within the last week, we had a generational release. Somehow we got both these Zelda games.
Oh, you mean that game that you said you weren't going to get?
Yeah. So
that you were voting with your wallet to stick it to Nintendo?
Yeah.
Because their console isn't acceptable. The stinky Switch.
Yeah, that is...
That game?
So... I did say that I wanted to see somebody, you know, that part where they jumped off the right side of the Sky Island, see if somebody jumps off the left side if everything breaks. The good news that I have to report, because I've played about 7 hours of Tears of the Kingdom at this point, is it holds up under pressure. Like, there are ways, like, I haven't made it to any of the places that had a terrible frame rate in Breath of the Wild, but so far it's been a solid 30. I haven't seen any like frame rate issues. And
hey, Nintendo know how to pimp the fuck out of that little toaster. You know what I'm saying? They know what they doing with they brave little toaster.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see this game running at higher resolutions, at higher frame rates, but I mean, a lock 30... Huh?
I said absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, for the game and what it is, so up until probably the day before the game came out, I was still probably not going to get it. But then the reviews dropped, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's getting 10s across the board. Let's listen and look at some of these reviews.
Surprise.
I was unsure. That was one of my concerns, is like, we don't know if it's going to live up to what it needs to live up to with Breath of the Wild, but that was one of the things a lot of the reviews talked about, and what I've seen so far is that there's so much additional stuff in this that it justifies. It's not just Hyrule again. Hyrule is like a third of what is in this game. And then all of Hyrule has, for the most part,
it's
changed.
Hyrule as in high.
Yep. But, so in my first 7 hours, what I'll say is I've been using my Amiibos. So, like, I had my Amiibo case that the outside's super dirty, but all my Zelda Amiibos that I was using on a daily basis in Breath of the Wild, that weapon durability was never really a problem for me. Having, like, certain armor for certain resistances never was really a problem. Running out of rupees was never really a problem for me in the original Breath of the Wild. And then... So, a lot of the benefits that came with having a bunch of Amiibos in the first one also carry over to this one. Like, once I got the Amiibo ability, I was like, okay, all my shield slots are full. All my weapon slots are full. I have a shit ton of arrows. I haven't gotten too many. I think I got one good bow so far out of Amiibos, but I mean, once a day, usually I'll like finish a shrine or something like that, and then I'll just go and I'll be like, all right, let me scan all these amiibos, get all these benefits, get a bunch of food, and now I have a Zonai like portable cooking thing, so I can just set up and cook wherever. But
have you done a lot of crafting and shit yet, or
the master hand
fusing
stuff? So fuse I don't use as much because that's where you fuse stuff to your weapons and your shield and stuff, and all I'll really do is I'll fuse one rusty sword to another rusty sword. I haven't gotten to the point where they're like super good weapons I can make just yet, but master hand, like the one where you are like building stuff, because you start off in the Sky Islands and there are parts where they straight up expect you to build a craft of some sort and use that to get to your next objective. And there are a lot of really interesting and creative ways that they go about that. So, yeah, by the time you get off the Sky Islands, you kind of have some comfortability with crafting and using your new powers, because all the powers
so that's like
from Breath of the Wild
like the
are
Great
gone.
Plateau. It's like, all right, here's how you use these abilities.
I think the
Now
one
go
you
out.
start off is called the Great Sky Island. It's really like do these 4 shrines, get enough power to be able to open the door where you can go and jump off and land on the surface of Hyrule.
That's dope.
But yeah, I really
So I
think,
guess you've been enjoying it.
yeah, the opening, the tutorial, all that stuff has been really, I think it's a really strong opening to the game. And even when I've gotten to, it's opened up, like I have my paraglider, I have fast traveling, I'm out doing shrines and stuff, it feels like they taught me enough that I'm finding unique just in the 4 shrines they had you do in the sky and traversing the Sky Islands using the abilities. Because that's the thing. The Sheikah Slate's gone. Your 4 powers from the original Zeldas are gone. Even though the Magnesis one, you can kind of do the same thing with Master Hand. But instead of picking up anything metal, you can just pick up anything like interactable, you know?
Anything.
I mean,
I see.
for the most part, like trees, if you need logs, you just cut down a tree. If you need rocks, you can just like use a mallet on a boulder. There's a lot of stuff that you can mess with Master Hand to build what you need.
Fortnite.
It's completely different than Fortnite.
I know, but just like I'm thinking about hitting a rock to get rocks, hitting a tree
Minecraft.
to get wood.
So
Yeah.
I heard
Yeah,
one of the
Minecraft.
reviews I listened to talked about this game like it's an immersive sim. Because it's just you're in a world, you have a rule set that is based in reality, and you have a set of tools in that sandbox, and you can just tackle anything almost any way you can think of that would work, and it'll work. And I feel like the powers in this one are a lot more tailored to, like, last time people found ways of using stasis to like launch themselves and like ride things, but with this they're encouraging you, they're actively like, all right, here's a glider and here's some fans and here's enough power to fly all the way across Hyrule if that's what you really want to do. So instead of it, a lot of the things that were really interesting of seeing people learning how to figure out how to make a boat and stuff like that in the original Breath of the Wild, this one they'll give you the materials for a boat and give you some sails. But then also you have the option of just because the Zonai materials you get, like you'll find those laying around. But sometimes to solve a problem, you will have some in your inventory that you can just pop out anywhere. So like I'm in the middle of a shrine and I need to fly, but I'm not seeing fans and they're expecting me to like do a wind puzzle, but I'm just going to build a flying craft and just have that jankily get tossed about and solve the problem, because that makes more sense than me trying to do it with my glider. So
Okay. Here's these tools to tackle these objectives
yeah, that's the thing
that you might run into.
and there's so much, like, because that's essentially what the first game was. But this, adding the Sky Islands, and I don't know if you guys, because some reviews have talked about this, some reviews haven't talked about this.
I haven't looked at any reviews, honestly. I just looked at the numbers for the scores.
Okay, so I won't talk about the additional part. So the Sky Islands is the third, and Hyrule is the third. I won't talk about the final third. And I mean, it's something you can encounter as soon as you are in Hyrule. But it's something that it kind of is one of those things that if you watched all the trailers, if you watched everything pre-release except the reviews, you wouldn't know it exists at all. So yeah, I'll leave that for people who are interested, people who haven't gotten a chance to pick it up yet. I'll leave that for you to discover what the third element of Tears of the Kingdom is. But yeah, I mean, this is the first game this year that I feel like is Game of the Year material. Like, there are a lot of the things. The only difference between this and Elden Ring is there's not a multiplayer component, and so far it seems like not that many people in the Discord are playing it, but I was able to talk to Darren the first night that I streamed it, and even with talking with Darren and having Darren watch my stream, he was like, oh, you did this in a completely different way that I didn't even think of doing this. And in knowing Darren, like, neither of us are just doing it the way the game expects us to do it. We're both experimenting with a lot of different things and using the tools to get the job done in a more efficient way than the cumbersome way. Because the shrines will usually be like, all right, if you're not creative, if you're not whatever, there's a way you're supposed to do this. That's relatively easy to figure out. But if you want to be creative and you want to, like, express some of that, like, creativity and like just tinkering around and messing with the systems, there'll be a way for you to do it like that as well. So that's yeah, I highly recommend it. I'm not sure because we still have Final Fantasy 16 and the possibility of Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth this year. So I'm not sure.
And Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2 is going to probably be in my top 5, but I don't think, as far as like open world game next to open world game, Tears of the Kingdom is already doing way more than Spider-Man even possibly could do. Just like on a game design, level design, systems level, like Spider-Man was a great video game. Tears of the Kingdom is like a physics sandbox experiment thing that occasionally does video gamey things. Where Spider-Man's going to be...
that can be that can provide some self-gratification, but at the same time, is that just as fun as just like swinging into some shit and beating the fuck out of somebody with your black sidekick? And to fucking... Is it... It could be, but it could also not be.
Right.
Because this is like Spider-Man's just going to be fun, you know. And if the story is hitting, then hey,
I expect
all
a
I'm
lot
saying is
from
that
Spider-Man's story, Spider-Man's gameplay, but I know
it might not even come out this year. So there's that too.
What, Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Oh no, Spider-Man's a lock.
They put a release date on it?
No, they haven't, but The projected release date is September.
The rumored release date of September.
Right. But I mean,
the voice actor of that.
There's still 3 months, and I don't think Sony would push it out the calendar year.
Yeah.
Because it would sell all the way through
it's
the
gonna
end
come
of
out, dude.
November. Like, that's the thing. September would make sense because gamers would buy it in September, and then people would buy it on Black Friday, and then people would buy it for the holidays. But they really could. Wasn't God of War like the first week of December?
I don't remember.
Whenever God of War was late in the year for it being
Week before what was it? It was like a week or two before fucking Game of the Year nominations went up.
right.
Literally.
So it was really late in the year last year. So, and I could totally see, because that was a big Sony first party AAA, like, buy a PS5 for this game-esque game. Like, the amount of people I know who got PS5s just to play God of War, even though it was available on PS4, it was one of those games. And Spider-Man 2 is only available on PS5, so this is going to be the next. Well, Final Fantasy 16 is the bundle they're selling now. Like, if you want to buy a PS5 right now, the main bundle you're going to get is Final Fantasy 16. The first one they did was Horizon. Dope. The second one they did was God of War Ragnarok. Now it's Final Fantasy 16, and then the next one's probably going to be Spider-Man. I wish we got the faceplates in North America. Like, part of me is looking at these Japanese imported fucking faceplates because they got a special edition console and a special edition controller that I know, Madrid, for a while you were saying you were waiting for the 16 special edition, but that's just not here.
I knew it would happen, and they're like, yeah, but y'all aren't going to get it. Maybe they just haven't announced it for us yet, right?
No, because they...
Right? They just haven't announced it for us yet, right? That's what it is. They're going to wait till it's closer to the release date, and then they're going to hit us.
We got like a month and a week. We got 5.
They're going to force us to double
6
dip.
weeks out.
That's what it is. That's
I'm definitely not double dipping. That's for sure. I am not buying a whole new PS5. I will buy these faceplates secondhand off somebody who wanted to use some other faceplates or something. I am not buying a whole new PS5 for some Final Fantasy 16 faceplates. Even if only the top plate works.
I really just want the controller.
Oh yeah, the controller is...
Because that is easily justifiable to me. I'm like, okay, I need another controller anyway. So,
are you still rocking with the base one, or did you ever get?
Yeah, I just got the one.
So
I hadn't decided on a color that I wanted, and thus I never got one.
Yeah, and I mean that 16, like the God of War one was cool, but you kind of have to be like more of a God of War fan than you are to justify getting the God of War one. Because even I'm not a big enough God of War fan to have gotten the God of War controller.
I still don't think I've played God of War since I've had COVID, and I think that it just left a bad taste in my mouth.
Look, at least there's taste in your mouth. You're not suffering from the true long COVID.
Ooh.
But, yeah, so with Tears of the Kingdom, the one thing that I kind of want the new Link amiibo with him doing, like, his, like, Sealing the Darkness kind of pose from the key art. Like, that amiibo is really cool. But I also kind of want to get a set of amiibo cards because... Where are my Monster Hunter ones? Like... Having all the Zelda amiibos in a container this size is going to be a lot more convenient than... I'm going to try and hide how dirty the outside of this is. All of these... This isn't even all the Zelda amiibos. But it's a lot of them. I'm missing, like, the Skyward Sword one. I don't know where my Champion amiibos are, because I know I had all 4 of the champions. but I just have no idea where those I got like later on, like after I had already stopped playing Breath of the Wild. So like all of those that are in there are either like my Link's Awakening one that is newer, so I knew where it was at, or like my Guardian that I would have. He used to be in the backdrop over there. So like these I knew where they were, but the rest of these that are in here were the ones that I was using every day when I'd be playing Breath of the Wild. I'd scan my Amiibos, get my materials. So I don't know where my champion Amiibos are, but I gotta find those to get the exclusive gear out of those. Well, it's not exclusive anymore, so that's the good thing. All the things you get from Amiibos, except like the paraglider skins, are available in-game this time around. So there are no, like, nice. It's not like I'm going to scan an Amiibo and get where, like, in Breath of the Wild, having Wolf Link alongside you once a day was, like, broken as hell. There's nothing like that in Tears of the Kingdom, because I've seen what all the Amiibos do, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And the armor, I don't feel like is as good of armor, because like I have found a merchant and bought armor already in the game, and that armor is better than any of the armor that I would get. And it wasn't like a high-end merchant. I didn't like, it's just a merchant that was in the town that you start off in. Well, not the town you get to once you beat the first Sky Island. And yeah, I just bought that, and that is better than any of the gear that I'd be able to get out of the Amiibos. The only thing that I've used gear-wise out of the Amiibos is the Sheik mask, because that gives you added stealth. And I was trying to sneak up on a horse. Sometimes you just gotta...
Hey man, I'm not gonna ask no questions. That's your business.
Oh, that is the one janky thing that I've noticed so far. So I got a horse, and like I jumped on the horse. Horse takes off to go off a cliff. I'm like soothing the horse, tame the horse, but now we're on the side of a cliff. And it's too scared to go up or down, and so there is just a horse stuck on the side of a mountain somewhere in Hyrule that...
Did you abandon the horse?
Yeah, because I was stuck. There was nothing I could do except jump off the horse. And even jumping off the horse, I don't have enough stamina to climb back up to where it is. And there's a river below, so the only way to get to that horse is to either try and slide down the mountain, and that's the thing. Even if I were to be able to force it to go down, it would drown in the river, so...
I mean, that's better than starving. Oh, wow. Can you, like, get a rocket or, like, make a little balloon to, like, rescue it or something?
I'd have to get, like, the towing stuff, which I haven't registered enough with this.
Build yourself a mech, right? Build a rescue mech. A rescue mech to go rescue the horse.
I don't have the little...
Get like one of those little claws. And then like just scoop them up and then just like place them back down.
I mean,
you can do that, right?
If it's still there, which I highly doubt the game's memory remember that I abandoned a horse on the side of a mountain.
It's like, we didn't forget, you monster.
But if the game remembers, I will...
You're going to come back as one of those little skeleton horses?
Link, the blood moon rises. Its skeleton reanimates and it has, like, is trying to exact its vengeance on me.
But it's still scared to get down, so it's stuck. It just yells swear words at you.
You bastard. The cool thing about this is going around and everybody being like, oh, Link's here. That's great.
Oh my god, it's Link.
Because you and Zelda went missing, and it's hard to tell. I'm sure at some point they explain how long you were out, but yeah, everybody being like, oh, Link's back, we're saved. Yeah, Hero of Time shit. It's really like Warrior of Light shit where you show up and it's like, oh shit.
No. I remember everyone was trying to fuck Link in the last one.
I mean, I'm sure there is still, like, I haven't been interacting with that many NPCs, but I'm sure they're digging the longer hair.
Have you
And
seen
the
that?
magic arm.
Saying sooner or later you're gonna get a scene where one of the fairies and Garuda puts that boy in makeup. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
you're going to
you're
have
cross-dressing the
to.
arc.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to cross dress to do the Greedo stuff. And I think that's going to be the first one I go and do because.
I can't wait.
Hey, man. Last time, the Greedo's storyline, I feel like the Greedos had the best, like. As far as the 4 tribes, they had the most compelling stuff. Them and then the Zora.
Shit, I'm not gonna lie. I think those are the only 2 I've done so far. I did boot up Breath of the Wild last night, because I'm like, I might as well go ahead and try and knock it out. Because that will I can either A, go and like play more of the game and maybe finish it, or it'll be B, I will see that I'm not in the mood to play this type of game. Thus, I don't have to force myself to go buy Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, and I mean, you might have the same problem because I know Paul Box, shout out, twitch.tv/Paul Box. He was on Instagram talking about trying to beat Breath of the Wild before Tears of the Kingdom came out, and that's what, like, I was trying to beat Jedi Survivor before. Or Jedi Fallen Order before playing Survivor, and you might be where I was at with Jedi Survivor of just like I'm somewhere that there was a reason I put this game down, and I don't have what it takes to get over the hump. But Tears of the Kingdom
I was in the shrine.
Off you can just leave the shrine. You can fast travel.
Yeah, I know. I don't know if I like just literally went to the shrine and was like, all right, I'm done playing for now, or if I was in that shrine before and it was some bullshit, or what. I don't know. I'm gonna see.
Yeah, because there's one shrine I've encountered so far that I was just like, what. The way it actually wants me to do this, I can't figure out. And then the way I'm trying to do this is not. I think you might have seen me do it where it was like a ball that had to hit a target. And so what I did was I made a really long stick and I attached the ball to the end of it and was like trying to hit the target with it. But that wasn't working.
The greatest crafting item, I was very long stick.
Yep. That stick was at least 5 crystals long.
Yeah. Let me think. Because I was, like I said, I was only kind of watching you. I didn't want to like watch too much to where I'm like, oh my god, I see everything. But I watched enough just to kind of see how the game looks and runs a little bit.
Yeah. And
I don't remember that portion.
It looks acceptable. You can tell that it's not even native 1080p. Apparently it's 900. So I watched the Digital Foundry breakdown. And so my pro tip is if you get this game, download and install the day one patch before you even open it. Because apparently, even in the preview stage, there were a lot of frame rate issues in places that the day one patch just completely locks it at 30. So that's definitely install the day one patch. And then, I mean, if you have any questions about the fidelity because it looks like it's running at 900p dynamically and then upscaling to 1080p. So it's not the best image quality by any stretch, but it's acceptable. Like, it works. It's not like I'm looking at this and I'm just like, oh, this is horrible. This is like unforgivable. This is not the stinky switch levels of like I am looking at this and like, oh yeah, it probably could run better on other hardware, but it's not to the point that I'm like, oh my god, I want to murder my Switch because this game is running so poorly.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of my big concerns, especially pre-release. Like, is this game going to be a buggy, broken mess? But no, somehow at 16 gigabytes, they got this entire massive open world, systems heavy game just running. Like, that's one of the things of like Nintendo magic. Like, this game should not be 16 gigs. This game, the complexity of like Spider-Man's going to be minimum 40 gigs. And it's going to be a smaller open world with less like mechanically going on, but of course it'll have a lot more, pedestrians walking around, cars driving around, where the only car driving around is me and whatever makeshift like thing that I have going on in Tears of the Kingdom. I do prefer flying over driving. Every time there's been like drive, I'm like, but I could fly at the same time. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting for if it comes down to Game of the Year time and the two games that are up for debate are Tears of the Kingdom and Spider-Man, to compare those open worlds more with a finer tooth comb,
You might as well go ahead and throw 16 in there too, because also.
Well, 16's not open world. Like 16 will.
I know it's not.
I know
open
the
world,
combat
but, like,
hands down, because they didn't improve the combat much from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. Like, for the most part, the combat's almost exactly the same. The only difference is like what you're fighting. Like, there's a greater enemy variety, so you have to use different tactics for different like enemies, but it's still the same combat system from Breath of the Wild, which was not the best combat system. So I know 16 hands down is like with a focus on story and combat, because Tears of the Kingdom, the story's been interesting so far, but it's not going to be as. It's the same deal with Breath of the Wild, where a lot of the story happened before you got there, where 16 you are going to be an active participant in this like grander story going on. All right. So the last story I have, I know we've been going kind of long. The last story I have that I want to talk about before we get out of here is there was a live letter talking about Final Fantasy XIV Patch 6.4, The Dark Throne. And I watched the trailer right before we recorded, and that dungeon looks sick. That trial looks sick. That raid content looks sick. Like, I am here for all, like...
The music is sick?
Oh, yeah. Soken definitely was in his bag with... Well, I mean, when is Soken not in his bag? Especially in these post-game Endwalker. It's like every single time there's been a trailer, it's been like, oh, what is that song? Can't wait to hear that full thing in the game, so...
Yeah, that shit looks really fucking good. I can't wait. Like 6.4 is definitely going to be piped up,
and that's this month. So
yeah,
getting that might be like, I know my PlayStation's been crying out neglect. They've been sending me ads. They're like, hey, there's a Diablo 4 open beta going on right now. Meanwhile, I have my Switch Pro controller in my hand.
Right. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
I'm like, yeah, I would play some more free Diablo.
Even Yoshi P was up there doing the damn live letter with his Switch in hand. Playing Tears of the Kingdom, like the fuck. Y'all think we're gonna sit back and like pop back into the world of Diablo? No.
And like this,
Oh.
Diablo is going to be hurting because like now their open beta is the same time as Tears of the Kingdom, and they are right there before 16. They're right there between Street Fighter 6 and Final Fantasy 16. Like, it ain't happening.
Yeah, both of those are day one, fucking maybe deluxe editions for me. Right?
Well, 16, the deluxe edition's been paid for me for a while, and then Street Fighter, it's probably gonna happen.
Yeah.
I wish I had
It
realized I was
is.
getting Tears of the Kingdom, so I wouldn't have gotten Jedi Survivor and would have just used those points and coins towards Street Fighter. But you know, worst case is Raddick and I are game sharing, so Raddick's a definite day one. So I'll at least be on there playing with y'all.
Right.
But
So yeah.
did we talk about the open beta for that?
For what? Oh, 16?
No.
No.
Street
Street
Fighter
Fighter.
6.
Yeah, Street Fighter's doing an open beta. Finally.
Right.
Fuckingly. Is it next weekend or the following weekend?
I believe it's next weekend.
Next weekend? Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
This is going to be piped up.
that's next gen only and full crossplay. So it looks like they're gonna wait for the game to actually be out to open up the crossplay to Xbox One and PS4 players. But PS5, Series X, PC, if any of those platforms, Series X/S. So if you want to play on your Xbox, Jalen, you definitely can play Street Fighter with us.
Steam though.
Yeah, true. Like, because that's the thing. I downloaded the Street Fighter 6 demo on my Steam Deck, and I'm really contemplating, like, when I have the time just feel like playing that, I might just play it on my Steam Deck over my PlayStation. All right. Well, anybody got one more thing before we wrap?
No, that was really it. I yelled at the K-Manga app, so I feel good.
All right.
Fix y'all shit, man.
Yeah. And please, Amazon and eBay, give me a good listing for all the Zelda Amiibo cards in one bundle. Like, Monster Hunter, it's easy as shit to find the complete bundle of Amiibo cards. Like, ridiculously easy. Like, make it this easy to find the Zelda ones. Because I definitely would get those, so I could put these Amiibos and this case back away and not have to think about it. And just have a little thing on my desk that once a day I scan the little cards, get my little rewards, keep it pushing. All right. Until next time, you can follow us all collectively around the internet, cheesycontrollerpodcast.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch because I've streamed like 3 times in the past week. Twitch.tv/Anton6. Jalen, where can people find you? Madrid.
Speedwagon X.
All right, this has been a No It's Good production. The video version is edited by Long Twisted Mind. The audio version is edited by Akumasanti. Until next time, keep it cheesy.